So with trowels, you have three main variables that you're considering in order to figure out what the right trowel is for the job that you're trying to do. The first variable is the flexibility or stiffness of the trowel. The second variable is whether or not the material the trowel is made out of has surface tension with water. And the third variable is going to be size. So looking first at stiffness, you'll notice that this float is solid metal, but it is, I can't bend it, I can't flex it. It's completely rigid. Versus this trowel, which is also solid metal, however, I can bend it. It bends pretty easily. So the difference is, when you have a stiff trowel like this one, it has to move all the material that's in its way, it has to move that material out of its way. So it will leave you with this straight edge in the surface, so it will leave you with a flat surface. The flexible trowel, because it's flexible, has the opposite effect. The trowel will actually bend depending on what you have in front of it. And so it will adjust to the surface that's existing on the wall. So instead of moving all the material out of the way and creating a very flat wall, you create a very smooth looking wall. So if you haven't already shaped it and you go right in with a flexible trowel, you're not going to really be able to shape it. So a flexible trowel is better for crazy curvy things and when you're trying to take out trowel marks. And a stiff trowel is when you're trying to move the material around and try to shape it to a specific shape. So you're trying to make a really level floor and you don't want to see all the movements from your hand. You want to use a really stiff trowel. The second variable is going to be what the material of the trowel is, and specifically you're concerned about the property of surface tension of water to that material. For example, a steel float, when you run a steel float across a floor, there's actually an attraction between the water that's in your material to the steel of the trowel, and the trowel, as you run it over the floor, will pull the water up to the trowel. And with that water, it pulls a little bit of clay from your floor into that trowel, which lets you then sweep across the floor with a little tiny skim of clay, which lets you make the floor really smooth. That's also true for the flexible trowel. So this is also steel. It has good surface tension with the water in the floor, and as you run over, it's going to make the surface feel really smooth. The wooden and the magnesium floats do not have surface tension with water. So when you run across a floor or a plaster wall, they will move, again, they're stiff, so they will move the material out of your way. And they will not pull moisture to the top. So they will, if you go over and over and over and over and over with a magnesium float or a wooden float, you're not going to bring clay, water, and then with it clay up to the surface. It's going to have the exact same consistency of sand to water all the way through. So the surface won't look shiny, pretty, smooth, but it will be level. And with these, it will be shiny, pretty, smooth. Then our third variable is size. And you'll notice, there's a variety of sizes that I use here. The idea behind size is that when you're pushing on a trowel, right, and then you're moving, you don't have exactly the same even force the entire time that you're working the trowel. There's like slight imperfections in how you're pushing on the trowel. And the larger your surface area of the trowel face, the larger the area those imperfections are spread across, and so they will appear smaller in your wall. So especially if you're first trying to use a trowel, there's an awkwardness to a large trowel, but it also lets you be slightly inconsistent with how you move the trowel, and it's distributing that inconsistency over much larger areas so you don't see it as much in the wall. The benefit of a very small trowel, and these have high surface tension because they're super beautiful stainless steel. They're extremely flexible, so they will let you do lots of detail work, and they're teeny, 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 tiny. So they let you get in little teeny tight areas. if you tried to plaster an entire wall with these little teeny tiny trowels, you would see every single mark from every single stroke that you go across the wall with. But these benefit you when you're trying to do like a really detailed area or a niche or something like that, where you can just get in there really lightly and just really smooth it out nicely. I use a stiff trowel to shape the wall. I use a larger trowel when I'm trying to do a large area. I switch to a flexible trowel just to finish it, just very quickly. I don't spend a lot of time with the finished trowel, just to pull out trowel marks and polish the surface. And I use the teeny tiny super duper flexible trowels to do niches and tight spots and inside corners and anything that's hard to reach or tricky to get to. The final trowel I have is actually, it's not really trowel, it's called an edger. And this comes in handy when you're doing a floor and you have, let's say you have a piece of wood trim and you have your floor coming right up to the trim. You use the edger to create a nice clean break between the wood or any dissimilar material and the floor that you're pouring, so that as the floor shrinks a little bit, it doesn't create a willy-nilly crack at the wood. The edger lets you separate it just enough from the wood that any crack that develops will be small and it'll be underneath that beautiful line that you made, so you won't see that.